Hey friends, welcome back to my channel and to this new video. For the last 4 weeks I have tested the new Notion calendar so you guys don't have to, and in this video I want to share my experiences with it. Among other things, I will talk about my favorite features, the stuff I didn't like that much, and finally how I think it compares to other calendar apps such as Google Calendar, the calendar from Apple, or Fantastical. Make sure to stay until the end of this video where I am going to tell you for whom I would recommend the Notion calendar and if I'm going to continue using it. In order not to waste your time, and because I know that if you've clicked on this video you probably already know what Notion calendar and Notion itself is all about. So I will straight up start with telling you about the things I liked about Notion calendar. But for some context, let me just say Notion is a note-taking / database software used by many people to organize different aspects of their life such as projects, habits or tasks. Notion has now recently bought the calendar startup Cron and rebranded it to be their own standalone calendar UI. So you can imagine it to be in a row with other calendar UIs such as Google Calendar, the Apple Calendar or Fantastical. What I liked about Notion Calendar. Let's start with the obvious point first. Notion Calendar is the first calendar UI that allows to integrate and show Notion databases that have a timeline view. This means that you can now manage all of your appointments, your time blocks and databases in one place. As an example, I decided to integrate my Google Calendar and could then see when I had time to work on Notion project tasks next and when I had other calendar events planned. So this is a step in a great direction from Notion here. Secondly, Notion Calendar brings a lot of cool little features with it that make your calendar workflow way smoother and easier. I will talk you through my favorite ones really quick. Good handling of UI, dark mode, cool shortcuts, and the ability to add Notion pages and links to an event. Overall, it checks many boxes that other calendar UIs would check as well. Finally, it needs to be mentioned that Notion Calendar and Notion itself are completely free to use. This means that all cool little features that Notion Calendar brings with it are free, for now at least. This is definitely another point that speaks very much in favor of the Notion Calendar. But let's look at the stuff I didn't really like that much. By the way, if you've enjoyed the video so far and you found it to be helpful, I'd appreciate it if you could give it a thumbs up to support me and my channel. Let's get back into the video. What I did not like about Notion Calendar. While Notion Calendar is the first calendar UI that allows to display Notion projects, that's also the first point I didn't really like that much. If I want to see my Notion projects in my calendar UI, I have to switch to Notion Calendar. I would have really liked to see an option to integrate all my Notion stuff into other calendar UIs of my own choosing as well. Of course, Notion is doing what all companies are doing and they're trying to push you just a little bit more into their ecosystem. But given that Notion has always been very focused on the needs of their users, I would really like to see this being enabled in future updates as well. One second point I didn't like that much was that I was not able to integrate any third-party services such as Google Tasks or Apple Reminders. While this point on its own would be understandable, other calendar UIs don't allow this either. It exacerbates the first point because now I not only have to use Notion Calendar, but also can I not use any third-party services anymore. One final little point I didn't like that much was that while Notion Calendar allows to display Notion projects, no other properties that would be visible in Notion directly can be displayed. This would be really helpful if, for example, I want to see who was assigned for a task or other useful information. This is something I have very little understanding for, to be honest, because Notion bought a startup particularly to develop a calendar for their software, so it should be an easy thing to display other properties as well. Summary. Overall, I think that Notion came up with a very cool extension to their own software with Notion Calendar. I believe it would be extremely useful for you if you use Notion a lot and especially to manage time-bound projects, don't need tasks in your calendar or manage them in Notion directly, don't use any third-party extensions in your calendar. If, however, you feel like you don't use Notion too much or don't manage any time-bound projects in it, but would like to have your Google Tasks, Apple Reminders, or other tasks in your calendar, then I would recommend Fantastical as a calendar UI, as it can combine many different calendars and tasks. If you want to know more about Fantastical or other cool apps that I use every day to manage my daily life, I can recommend this video for you, where I introduce 5 apps that I would recommend to almost everyone. Thank you guys for watching the video. Again, I'd very much appreciate it if you could give it a thumbs up as a small favor if you stayed until this long, and I see you guys in the next video. Bye.